All right, first grade, so let's look at some of your specific math materials and how you might choose to organize them or use them in your classrooms. So the first main thing are the posters. You're going to see that you have a number patterns poster. This is to help students with those teen numbers, and you really don't use this until around Unit 4 when we start to do it in quick practice, and then it starts to become a regular part of our classroom for Units 4 through 8. So this can wait to be posted, or you can post it right away. Either way, it should be at the height of students, because when it's used in quick practice and in your daily routines, student leaders are going to need to access it and be able to point to it. So you want it to be on eye level with your first graders. You also will have a number parade poster. It's a long poster that can go at the bottom of a chalkboard ledge, the bottom of a bulletin board. But again, it should be at eye level of your first graders because it's something they're going to interact with starting in Unit 1 as they do their quick practice and daily routines. It's also a really good reminder about our number writing and how to write our numbers. So you're going to want access to this all year long, and you want it in a clear place in your classroom. In addition, you have your 120 poster. So your 120 poster comes packaged generally with another poster that goes to 240. You only need to post the 1 to 120 poster. Even if you're using the digital assets, you're using a 120 poster in your iTools or on Google Slides, no problem, but you want to make sure that that 120 poster is still posted in the room physically somewhere. Now, the more popular thing to do is to put it in a poster frame that can be moved up onto a chalkboard ledge, down. It could be posted on a wall. It's movable if you put it in a frame, or you can actually mount it. But that way, when you write on it, it doesn't destroy the poster. So keep that in mind, but the poster is like putting up your alphabet cards for your first graders. You would never take down the alphabet cards. Kids are going to reference it all day long as they're spelling and reading. The same thing is true for a 1 to 120 chart. It is crazy how often students need to reference their numbers as they're thinking about the size of numbers, as they're thinking about how to order numbers, how to say numbers. I want you to turn to page 36 in your book, and they're like, where is 36? I can point to it on the 120 chart and talk about general size of that number. So keep this poster up physically somewhere in your room. It is large, but it is a staple to your math instruction. So those are the main posters. Now you have a time poster that's used in our time unit, and our time poster is really for the daily routines. As you get into the later units, once you've taught time, it starts coming up as now a practice in your quick practices to get kids good at telling time. You might use slides for this, or a Judy clock, or something else. You may find that you don't actually need the poster, but you do have it for when it's time to start to teach those particular units. Now, we've talked about your secret code cards, and we've talked about some strategy cards, but I want you to be reminded that you have a large set of secret code cards. You have a small set for every single student of secret code cards, and they have to be easily accessible, especially your demonstration set of cards. Those really need to be maybe put on your key rings, by your front wall, maybe in a pocket chart, because you're going to use those right out of the gate starting in Unit 1, and you're going to use them all year long. Now, students don't use their individual card sets until later in the year. As we get into Unit 5 and Unit 6, they'll start to use their sets of cards then, but you'll need your demonstration cards before then. Now, your strategy cards are introduced starting here in Unit 1. So a different color card is introduced in each unit. Some units we introduce even 2 different colors, and you're going to introduce red, yellow, purple, green, and blue, I believe. And so you're going to need all of those different colors as you work through the year. So keep them organized. There are specific colors for a specific strategy. So one of them is like a count on card when we know both add-ins. Another one is count on when we don't know a second add-in. So you're going to use these cards, and every single student has their own set. And you'll notice here, as I scroll back down, you'll notice that the corner is then cut off of these cards. The reason for that is that way it's really easy to put all the cards back together facing the same direction. Because when the corners don't line up, then you're like, oh, I have a card backwards, or I have a card upside down. So that's why the corners of the cards are cut off, so that you can easily put them back into a stack and keep them organized. Now, these cards coincide with the number quilt game board. So the number quilt game board looks like this. When you introduce a new strategy card, you introduce a new game board. And the game boards are introduced starting in Unit 1, and they play the game while they practice using those strategies. It is a collaborative game. The partners are working together to fill up all the numbers on the game board. The game boards can be found in the student activity book. Kids tear them out and they use them as they work through that game. I like to put them on cardstock and laminate them, and then I keep all the game boards, and I do like a butterfly clip, and I clip the cards that go with that. So like the red cards, if they go with this number quilt game, the red cards are in a baggie. They're marked as count-on cards. And then that baggie and the game boards are all clipped together so that I can now keep them in a game basket and a substitute basket. I can put them somewhere where kids can easily access them because I want them to be able to grab them and access them at any point when they finish early. Maybe I have a sub that day. I want them to play these games regularly throughout the year. And as we add cards and as we add game boards, you're going to want to have those organized and put in the various baskets or bins. Okay, so from here, you are going to have giant yellow cards. So you can see those here. The giant yellow cards, you have a couple of different options or sets. You have a full giant yellow card set that is going to be the teacher set. These are just as important, if not more, than the secret code cards, especially at the beginning of the year. So keep them together, keep them in a pocket chart, keep them with a butterfly clip, whatever, but you're going to need them easily accessible for your daily routines and quick practices, and then for various things throughout the unit. Now, your students have the same thing. So your students here, you're going to see like this little first grader has his own little set of those yellow cards. They come in little baggies. So you're going to want a way to organize those, keep them in a basket. You choose, but I always have kids count cards when they put them back in the baggies. So I make them put back number 1, number 2, or at least put them all in order, make sure they have them all in order, make them a nice neat stack, and then tuck them into that baggie and zip them up. Those baggies then get collected. Some people keep them in their own like pencil pouches or their pencil boxes. You choose what the level of responsibility is going to be with those cards, but they mostly use them in unit 1 and 2. And then we don't really see them again, except for a couple of other times during the year. They're really used in those first 2 units. Now, they're used alongside of your stair steps. Your stair steps are your main manipulative in first grade. In kindergarten, they have something similar to this. You can see right here in this image, they have individual blue and red tiles that are very similar to the stair steps. They're made out of foam. And they even have a 5 group, which is 5 of the individual tiles basically glued together, all in one strip. This 5 strip grows into these stair steps. So you'll have an individual one, then you'll have 2 put together, then 3 put together, then 4 put together. And they come in a long, skinny bag, and they oftentimes get lost. So the same rule applies for me. As students put them away, they have to put 1 in the bag first. Then they put 2 in the bag. And I make it go slow. It takes forever. But when I train them that way, then I always get all of the steps back in the bags, and I'm not left after school trying to find where all the missing incomplete pieces are at. So these stair steps, again, are introduced in unit 1, and then we use them throughout the year in various units. As we're comparing numbers, we use them for comparison bars. As we build some teen numbers, we use them with teen numbers. So you definitely want to keep these tools separate from students' desks, mostly because they're made of foam, so they're not going to last you forever. So those will be the stair steps. They have a paper version in their student workbook that maybe students keep the paper version in their desks, and maybe you keep the foam for when you're doing a whole class activity. Now, you also have some other things that are going to help you. Let's go to the sticky demonstration board that is down here. This is an easel that looks like it's just a flat piece of cardboard. It comes in what we call the teacher modeling kit. So there's really 2 kits that most early adopters get in math expressions, and it's called a custom manipulative kit and a teacher modeling kit. Now, the custom manipulative kit is only math expression specific manipulatives. They generally include the things that only really math expressions uses. It doesn't include things like the double-sided counters, unifix cubes, place value blocks, money. It doesn't include those because those are more generic math tools that a lot of schools feel like they already have those. They didn't need to buy new ones. So they buy the custom kit so that it only has these specific tools. Now, everything I said was a poster or the giant yellow cards. Those all go in the teacher modeling kit. So the teacher modeling kit is everything that you would need for your room or for your specific instruction, like the large demonstration code cards. Okay, the sticky demonstration board is in that teacher modeling kit. The way that it works is it has sheets of plastic, and as you peel one of the sheets of plastic up, it is literally a sticky surface. The back pops out to make it an easel so that you can use this at a small group or when kids are like at the carpet, and you can stick your manipulatives to the board as you're teaching or as you're modeling. Now, they really are sticky, so they get a lot of lint. They get very dirty very quickly. So when I pull the plastic sleeve off, I actually don't pull it all the way off. I just roll it to the back, and then I do my work, and I roll the plastic sleeve back over it for storage or when it's just sitting there during the day. Now, I can usually get away with using one sheet for an entire year, and there's multiple sheets that come on this board, so you want to take care of it and then use those pages with discretion. So there, last but not least, is our shape set. So the shape sets, you have a 2D shape and you have a 3D shape set. These are very specific to first grade's standards, and it's really important that you use these shape sets. Now, you might have other shape sets that include other 3D shapes. By all means, bring them in because you can use more. When you get a 2D and a 3D set, it actually comes in a set of 10. So you get 10 student sets of 2D shapes and 10 student sets of 3D shapes, which is not a lot. Even if you had 20 kids, that means 2 kids would have to share each set. You probably have more than that. So a lot of times first grade teachers will share either with kindergarten, who has the same sets, or with other first grade teachers. They'll teach the lesson on Monday and use all of the kits, and then their partner will teach the lesson on Tuesday, and then they'll get all the kits. Okay, but just know that you don't actually have a full class set. Now, these are specific because they include right triangles, equilateral triangles. You're going to see in first grade standards that they have to do halves and quarter circles. Okay, all of those pieces are here. And then as you look also at the 3D shapes, you see the small cubes, the large cubes, the rectangular prisms. That's because your standard is about composing new shapes. So they need these pieces in order to make some of the larger pieces. So again, they're made out of foam. Not awesome, but very different than your typical tangram or pattern block set. I like those too, but oftentimes they don't include some of these specialized geometric pieces that are really important to your standards. So take a look at those. You'll need those as you organize for your students. I keep them in bins. I keep them in their main baggie, and then I have a bigger bin because it does take up a lot of room, and I only take them out as we get to those particular units. All right, my friends, last you have Puzzle Penguin. Puzzle Penguin is a puppet. He comes in the back of your teacher's guide. He's in the poster section. This is the old version of Puzzle Penguin. The 2009, 2011, 2013 version has this Puzzle Penguin. The newest version, 2018, actually has the new Puzzle Penguin that you see on my screen. So you can choose. I have them both linked on my website at empowerlearngrow.com. Log in, go to resources, click on Math Expressions Resources. You'll see that there's Blackline Masters there of both of these and some bigger versions as well that you can print like a poster size if you'd like. Tear it out of your back of your teacher's guide or print a new one. I have 2 copies because I laminate them, put them back to back. So my puppet is double-sided. I put them on my ruler here. You can use a popsicle stick or another type of wooden dowel, whatever you want. But Puzzle Penguin shows up starting in Unit 1 and he never goes away. He is the mascot of Math Expressions, and first grade kids love him. Now, I also have some other penguins. You might see them up in my corner here, or maybe you can't see them here, but I have some other stuffed puzzle penguins I've gotten from Kohl's and Amazon. Kids really do enjoy Puzzle Penguin, and they love to see them in their classroom. All right, friends, good luck with all of your materials. Reach out if you have